Mile 5.
I suck at running.
Which is why in this video, I'm gonna be running for 1 hour straight to see how far I can go. But there's a catch. At the time when I filmed this video, I was in Reno, which means I was in the middle of the desert. And deserts are hot, so not only will I be pushing myself to do an exercise I never do, but I would also be doing it in really hot climates.
So yeah, I really had my work cut out for me this morning. I wasted no time and got up bright and early at 8 a.m. to head down to the Hotel Fitness Center to warm up on their treadmills.
Getting a warm up.
And just after a few minutes on the treadmill, I was feeling ready to start the run. But sadly, I think it's safe to say that I won't be feeling this good for all that long. Because as soon as I stepped out of the hotel room, I was already feeling the heat. And believe me when I say I was actually nervous for this.
I'm a little scared. I never run, so.
This is an overhead view of what the lake looks like in this video that I am running around. And keep in mind, every time I make one lap, that's 1.7 miles. And so I got started.
Hasn't even been a few feet and I'm already tired. My legs hurt.
In just my first mile, I'm already feeling terrible. I quickly complete it and at a good pace. And just like that, I'm already on mile 2. It's not that easy. Although it may look like I'm smiling in the video, I'm not smiling. I'm in pain. I know I just got into the run and I just passed 1 mile, but at this point I was really thinking that I had to call it quits. I couldn't do it. I felt like it was impossible to run even more than 2 miles. I had no other choice but to keep pushing. At least I could say I was giving it my all. Even in these hotter temperatures, I kept going, and eventually I made it around the first loop.
This is worse than I thought. I've run 1.7 miles. I'm dead. I want to try to keep going, but I just cannot believe how unfit I am.
And as I stood aside, watching the other runners run past, I felt defeated. I also knew that if they could do it, so can I.
I'm going slower.
And so I got going again. This time I was gonna pace myself because I really needed it. And yeah, thinking back to the start of the run, this is the way I should have started, because believe it or not, pacing is literally everything. So I stopped by to look at some squirrels, recoup myself, and started getting at it. But this time, I was gonna pace, and I was gonna go as far as I possibly could.
Still in agony, but it's getting better. I can't run as high.
I was reaching runner's high, meaning finally I was starting to feel good. Even in the intense heat, I was making good progress. Once again, I found myself crossing the halfway mark of the loop, coming up on my 3rd mile.
Mile 3.
Thank the Lord that I was finally in the groove. I would get to the end of the loop to stop for a short break again.
Second loop, 3.5. Pulled a muscle in my leg, my hip flexor actually.
And this is where my bad feet would start to sabotage me.
So let me show you what I mean when I say I have bad feet. As you can see, if you look down here, very flat. That's not good.
Now, usually flat feet are not too much of an issue, but when it comes to long distance walking, and especially running, it all starts to add up. For example, at this point, both my hip flexors were feeling extremely strained, and that's because the high impacts on both my feet were causing a lot of trauma to my entire lower body. And I had finally had enough of the heat.
Taking the shirt off. That's better. Oh, it's so much better. Oh my God, I see why people are running shirtless now.
And I was back at it again to finally reach this was going to be my final lap of the loop. Around this time, it was about 45 minutes into the run, so I had to make my last loop count and try to get as far as possible. I was being passed by everyone, skateboarders, bikers, other runners, and honestly, it just gave me more motivation to get around the track.
Mile 5.
The hour was almost up, and I was pushing to get 6 miles.
Half a mile left.
Since I was so close to getting 6 miles, I decided it would be best to veer off the track, find a shady area, and to finish it off there.
Final 1/10. I found a shady area. I was just going back and forth in it. Just a little more. Just a little more. Yes. That's all I could do. If I pushed extremely hard, I bet I could do more. But I don't want to.
Even though I went over the hour mark, I'm just glad I was able to get 6 miles in. And after the run, I was definitely feeling it in both my hip flexors. And actually for the rest of the day, I could barely walk. And after this, I still hate running. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to run much more to try to get myself stronger so I can get much more distance in.
I didn't even realize how red my face is.
And if you're curious, these are all the stats from the entire run. And if you're still here, thanks for watching.